welcome to Crohn's and Colitis Connect. I'm Jacqueline Leach.
And I'm Katie Schmidt. And
Hi,
welcome
guys.
to our June show.
Yes,
Summer.
it feels like it today.
Oh my gosh. I heard it's supposed to be something like 108 with the
Heat index?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Whew.
It feels pretty steamy out there.
It's warm.
Yeah.
It's warm. But yeah, it's good stuff. Summer's great. We just are coming off of our wonderful experience at Camp Oasis.
Yes.
Where it was not so hot.
It really wasn't. It was a wonderful time this year, and we got to go down for Color Wars, and it was so much fun.
So fun. Yeah, we got to do a camp visit and see all the fun camp activities that are happening. And I shot some videos, so I'm excited to put all that together.
Yes.
It's been fun going through the footage and just seeing all the sweet smiles and just truly how much fun those kids are having.
Yeah, and this year we had 100 kiddos from
Yeah.
Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. A big turnout this year. It was wonderful to be able to send that many kids, and it's just truly rewarding to, do what we do and raise funds and gather support throughout the year and see one of the programs really come to life. So
Absolutely.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you just got back from your own vacation, right?
I did. You guys, my husband and I went on a vacation celebrating his 40th birthday. We went without the kids, so it was a vacation. It was not a trip.
Good.
It was a vacation, and it was lovely.
You probably didn't even know what to do with yourself.
I mean, I slept till like 8 o'clock. I feel like I've officially lost the ability to sleep in.
Oh, yeah.
So anything past 6:30 feels like a treat.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
And the kids are in summer camp now, so that's great. What about you? What's happening in the Leach household?
We nothing too crazy yet. We have a busy July.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be gone for 2 full weeks. So just getting ready for that.
Yeah.
And it's funny whenever moms have to go away, all the work that entails before
Yes.
we leave.
Yes. I don't know why that seems to happen, that it falls
Yeah.
on the moms, but I hear you. Anyways, we have an awesome show.
We do.
With some wonderful guests that I'm really excited to chat with.
Yes.
Marielle is here, and you get to meet with her and
I
listen to her
know.
story.
She'll be awesome, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to meet her. And Alicia also is spotlighting an advocacy resource, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And up next in our Health Connection, we have Dr. David Fudman, Assistant Professor with UT Southwestern. So stay tuned.
Welcome, Dr. Fedman. That was a quick change.
Thank you so much for having
Nicely
me.
done. You're not even out of breath. Dr. Fedman joins us from UT Southwestern and kind of new to Dallas.
Yeah, just
Right?
moved back here in September.
Oh, well, welcome back. We're so glad to have you. Moved from
It's
Boston.
been great. Yeah,
Yeah.
finished up my GI and IBD training there and came back to Dallas where I did my medical school.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. And we're big fans of UT Southwestern.
Good to hear that.
So, yeah. Well, I'm curious what kind of drew you to the Dallas area and to UT Southwestern?
Well, I wanted to work on some of my passions of taking care of IBD patients and working on quality improvement, and I'm able to kind of bring those together here.
Yeah.
And also be close to friends and family, close to where I grew up in Austin, and
Nice.
kind of come back from years ago.
You're doing okay with the heat?
So far, so good. We'll see if that changes.
Easing into it. Well, great. So you mentioned quality improvement, and that's kind of what we're going to chat about today. And it seems like you have a special interest in quality improvement, and so does the foundation. So can you tell us exactly what is quality improvement?
Sure. Well, quality improvement is really a broad spectrum of things, but basically it's anytime we're looking at the systems or processes of care that we use for patients and what we can do to optimize those so that we can then in turn optimize patients' outcomes.
Right.
So it can be anything from making sure patients are able to get into the office and get appointments and remember their appointments, something simple like that, or something more complex like how do we make sure that we use all the information that we know to make sure that you stay in remission, or how do we best make sure that we don't forget to do something small that might have a big impact down the road. It's sort of, one way I think about it is we know a lot about the theory of how to take care of things, and we've done lots of studies and trials. But actually enacting that in the real world is different than doing it in a clinical trial
Yeah.
setting. And so we really need to do work to bridge the gap between what we're doing in the real world and what we know in the research, and that's where quality improvement work comes in.
Gotcha. Okay. So, for someone living with IBD and your patients, why is quality improvement so critical and so important?
Well, IBD is a chronic disease, and so it's not a single episode of care. It's
Yeah.
not something happening once. You don't go to the hospital once and leave, and you're done. And so it's something that needs lifetime monitoring. So, for example, how do we make sure that we're doing all the preventive care items that IBD patients need? It's patients are busy, physicians are busy. There's a lot of ground to cover in a visit. How do we make sure that we're able to make it really easy for physicians and for patients
Hmm.
to make sure those things are covered? Because by making it easy, we'll make it more likely that it'll happen.
Right.
Um, and we know that there's a lot of monitoring that's involved for inflammatory bowel disease patients. How do we make sure that that's happening and that we're not letting it fall through the cracks and missing things that we should be doing?
Yeah. Makes sense. Um, so, what quality improvement initiatives have you implemented in your practice with your patients?
So something that we're working on now that we're very excited about is leveraging that pesky electronic medical record that maybe people have seen about in the media, people complaining about. And it's true, we spend a lot of time as physicians working on it, but
Sure.
in doing so, we generate a lot of data. We know a
Hmm.
lot of things about patients, what medications they're on, well, what kind of problems they've had in the past, what their laboratories look like. And so we want to use that to build a model to help improve the care for our patients. So we can say, if you have XYZ pieces of data, that might mean that you're a higher risk patient. Maybe we need to make sure that we're getting you an appointment in the office with a certain frequency, or you're on a certain drug that requires lab monitoring at maybe every 3 months. How do we make sure that you're reminded that you need to get those
Yeah.
blood work done if you're overdue? How do we make sure that we're identifying patients who seem to be getting sicker in an automated way, so that
Hmm.
if you're not in the office, or if it is something that seems to be sneaking up on us, how do we catch it so that we can intervene early?
Yeah.
And so we're really excited about trying to leverage all that data we have in the record to try to improve care.
Yeah. And it sounds like that will really benefit the patients
We
in
hope
the
so.
end. Yeah. Um, so, in the foundation, we've kind of done some research in nutrition and anemia and why those are important with quality improvement. What other areas of patient care do you see that could be of value?
Sure. Well, I mentioned preventive care and all those
Yeah.
healthcare maintenance items, and I think that's an area that's been ripe and continues to be ripe for quality
Hmm.
improvement initiatives. It's something that is somewhat new in gastroenterology. Gastroenterologists aren't necessarily used to taking charge of some of those items,
Yeah.
and so we need to make it easy for physicians and for patients to get those items done. So how do we determine whether we've checked those check boxes that we need to check? How do we utilize our time in clinic to make sure that we're getting those done? How do we utilize time outside of clinic to make sure we're getting
Yeah.
those done? Making sure people are getting necessary vaccines, they're getting bone density checked if they need it,
Hmm.
they're getting skin checks if they need those things. Um, so a lot of items in addition to all the other topics that we're covering. And so if we can create systems to make it easy,
Yeah.
and then to monitor how patients are doing in regards to getting these things done, we can try to improve the sort of rates of completion of those tasks.
Sure.
I think another item that's sort of a newer space is we
Hmm.
know, treating IBD, we want our patients to feel well,
Hmm.
but maybe we're a little bit greedy. We want more than that. We want the gut to heal on the inside. We know patients whose guts heal, who get mucosal healing, or what we call deep remission, do better over time. They have
Okay.
fewer flares. They are in the hospital less. They need surgery less. It's
Yeah.
possible that they'll get less colon cancer over time.
Wow.
How do we monitor for that when patients might not have symptoms that are
Hmm.
manifesting the inflammation? So, for example, let's say you're not doing well and we make a therapy change, and now it's 6 months later and you're doing well. We really probably should be doing something to make sure that inflammation's actually gone, not just reduced,
Right.
because maybe we need to tweak your therapy a bit more. So, how do we decide when we should do it, what we should do, how we should monitor whether we're doing it, and should we make that sort of a metric of quality? And so
Yeah.
these are sort of exciting areas in
Yeah.
quality improvement for inflammatory bowel disease.
Okay. All good stuff. Well, Dr. Funman, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Of course, thank you so
And we're
much for
so
having me.
glad to have you in Dallas and at UT Southwestern.
Thank you.
And up next, we have Alicia Barron with our Get Connected segment.
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia and I'm your education manager. And in a past show, I told you all about our advocacy efforts on behalf of our community, including our priorities and the things that we're doing up in DC to try to advance all of our advocacy priorities and to help improve our community. This month, I want to tell you about something that's happening that you can do here locally to help advance our advocacy mission. So I'm really excited to tell you about it. So I don't know if you know this, but in August, all of our legislators take a recess. And so what that means is for the entire month of August, they're really intended to come back to their district and come home and see us, their constituents, and kind of reconnect with their community to hear what we're talking about, what we're interested in, and sort of take all of that back with them to DC when they go back up to their job, a way to get them re-energized and reconnected to their community. So it's a really great time for you to schedule a meeting here locally to try to get to know your legislator and their staff, which they're also super, super important. So you definitely want to get to know their staff. So this is a great opportunity for you to make that connection with them. And it just so happens that June is the perfect time for you to hear about this, because now is the time that they're scheduling meetings so that when they come in August, they've got their calendar all full. So that's starting to fill up. So this is the perfect time for you to hear about this and perfect time for you to take action and make that meeting. Now you're probably like me and you're thinking, can't I just send an email? And you can, absolutely you can, and that helps. But all of our actions with advocacy carry weight. So an email, it does good. A phone call does a little bit better. And actually visiting with your legislator does even more good. But what makes the most good, what has the most impact, is you actually having a relationship with that legislator, them knowing you and their staff knowing you. And that's the goal here, is that we get you to a place where you have an actual relationship with your legislator and that you become the face of IBD to them, and they think about you when any issues come up that affect our community. And they call you up and they ask you to be their point of contact and their reference and their authority on this issue. So that's the goal. Now, that can be intimidating. So we give you some tools to help you with that, because that's, again, it can be difficult, but you are capable of it, and I know you're going to do great. But you're going to go here first and foremost. You're going to go to this part of our website. Our website just got revamped, so it looks great. And so if you've been there before, it may be a little bit harder to find, but all you're going to do is go to our website, click the Get Involved, which is, I think, the second section on the right and on the toolbar, and then you're going to the advocacy section. Or you can just type all of this in and find it there. When you get there, you're going to find lots of different links that take you to different places. So one of them tells you just what are our advocacy priorities, and so you get to know them. Another one takes you to our action center, where you can see what other action items we've had people do in the past. And you can also find our advocacy toolkit there and our advocacy roadmap and some tools and resources to help you with all of your visits or in communicating with your legislators. The most important link that you want to click on this time in this section is you want to click on the Contact Your Legislator button. So what that does is it talks to you a little bit about why would you want to do that in the first place, and then it gives you a link so you can find out who your legislator is. If you don't know who your legislator is, that's okay. Lots of people don't, but you can find it there, and that's a great first place to start. So click on that. You're going to find your legislator. You're going to find their contact information, and then you're going to make a phone call to their district office. And there's a script there for you, a sample script that you can modify so it sounds more like you. And it gives you a sample script of how you're going to ask for that meeting. And so it's right there, everything that you need. And then if you scroll down, it gives you all the resources that you're going to need at the actual meeting. So some handouts that you can give to the legislator, and also a worksheet that helps you figure out how to tell your story. So typically, your meetings are going to be 15 minutes or less, so it's really important that you figure out how to tell your IBD story kind of quickly. And so this will walk you through sort of what is the most important pieces that you want to share with your legislators that you know, and you can practice it and you can be ready to go. So it's really great, super great resources there. And then also it gives you a guide for actually when you're at the meeting, sort of what are the things you should say, how should it go, and then also what are your follow-up items. So after you're done visiting with these folks, what do you do afterwards? How do you continue that relationship? And it gives you some advice on how to do that as well. So this is a really, really great place for you to go. The other thing is, and that's not all we have, because that's pretty darn good, but we also have a training that we're going to be doing to give you some even more information about how to do this and how to do this well. And so if you're interested in doing this, I want you to email our advocacy team. So our advocacy team is a really great group of folks. They're really fantastic. And you're going to email them at advocacy@Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. So advocacy@Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. If you're interested in any aspect of advocacy, this is a great way for you to connect with our group and our team. And they can add you to our advocacy email list, and you can get action items and things you can do on a regular basis. So about once a month, they email you to tell you, hey, this is another thing you can do to help us advance our advocacy priorities. So email them and get involved. Now, the most important thing you can do to help our advocacy efforts is to have a solid relationship with your legislator. Again, for you to be that person that's their authority on inflammatory bowel disease and chronic illnesses. That's the most important thing you can do. And our August recess is a really great way for you to start to build that relationship with your legislator. So I'm really hoping you'll want to get involved. And if you're interested, again, you want to email our advocacy team, advocacy@Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to help you as well, but I hope you'll get involved. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Alicia, so much for helping everyone get connected with our advocacy efforts. I'm so excited to have Marielle Landrum here today for our Patient Connection.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for being
I
here.
appreciate it. Always a pleasure to share my story and inspire patients with IBD.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, you're definitely an inspiration.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to share with people, about your journey and also how it's led you to where you are today. So you shared with me that you were diagnosed in 2008 with Crohn's. Tell us a little bit about what was happening in your life at that time and how the diagnosis really impacted you at that time.
Absolutely. So for me, it actually was supposed to be a very exciting time. I had just graduated with my master's degree in August. I had just got married to my awesome husband in July. And then in October, I just started to experience, fatigue like most people, tired all the time, trying to figure out like why I'm 20-something, feeling like a 70-year-old, right? And then also just having loss of appetite, constantly going to the bathroom, having night sweats, waking up in the bed is like soaking wet. But probably the biggest thing that really made me realize that something was going on was I was experiencing really bad abdomen pain. So at night I would be balled up in a fetal position night after night. So finally I was like, okay, look, I'm, can usually take a lot of pain, but it just got to the point where it was unbearable. And then I finally went to the doctor after they ran several tests. They diagnosed me with Crohn's disease, and so that's kind of where my journey began because I had never heard of it. So,
wow, I'm sure that was tough to, especially with everything going on, a tough diagnosis to take. And you had shared with me that there was definitely some challenges in the beginning with your diagnosis and finding the right treatments. What really did you experience with those challenges?
Yeah, so for me it was really hard, number one, because going from what you thought completely healthy to now, having a condition that they say there's no cure for, you have to, pretty much have it the rest of your life. You're like, okay, well, what do I do? And medication was not something that I really wanted to take because I never took pills in my life. So for me, it was a struggle. It was trying to figure out what medication was going to fit with my lifestyle. I was in and out the hospital a lot, just really trying to figure it out. And so for me, it was, pretty traumatic because nobody I knew really had gone through this, so I didn't really know who to talk to. I had support of my family, but nobody who really had Crohn's disease and had experienced or had success with certain medications that I could talk to that was my age. And so, after being in and out the hospital and just trying to figure it out, I got to the point where I got really, really sick and had no choice but to have surgery and had 1.5 feet of my small intestine removed. And so, that was just a struggle in and out. But after that, I felt like that was the best thing that could have happened to me in that journey because just medication just didn't seem to really help.
Right. Wow. I mean, and surgery we know can be life altering, and definitely you took it as a new approach to your lifestyle. What did you begin doing, and how did you treat that differently in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So after I had that part of my small intestine removed, I felt like God had given me a new life. So that, surgeon was amazing. He did an awesome job. He was able to reconnect it, and I didn't have to have a bag. And so after that, that's when I went on a journey, like you said, to live a healthy lifestyle. I started researching things that can help people who have chronic illness like myself, starting with kind of diet and just kind of what I was eating, taking out a lot of things that are hard for your body to already digest and just didn't feel right. And then also reducing stress. So, I realized that I had to do something to be able to cope with just everyday life. We know stress is something that you can't really not control, but it's how do you control it? And I do that with, exercising and just, being in a positive atmosphere, controlling my situation and putting myself around people who are going to help me during this situation too as well. So that way I just feel more positive about myself and not stressed out about situations. So.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. And you definitely have embraced the lifestyle and fitness and health are a priority. We can see that in your photos and really what you're doing with your career and your passion. And I imagine that your IBD journey has shaped you into where you are today and who you are today as a lifestyle coach. And how are you inspiring others to join in this effort?
Yes, so pretty much during that process, I realized that my health was my wealth because during that time, if I didn't have anything, finances didn't matter, relationships, none of that, my health had to really be a priority. So when it came down to it, I realized that me running track all my life wasn't just about the physical aspect. It was more about really being healthy because I thought I was healthy, but I wasn't. And so for me, it was really educating people now about, number one, taking care of your body because it is the most important thing, and you only get one, and, sometimes you don't get a do-over. I feel like I was given a second chance at life and had a do-over, but everybody doesn't get that, right? So yeah, that's kind of like where my journey started, and just made me realize that people really have a purpose here in life. Right. And my purpose is to inspire people to be the best version of themselves, focusing on your mind, body, and soul. I mean, the mindset is huge. It's the most important thing. And if it wasn't for, just me having a background in athletics, that I wouldn't have been able to have a strong mindset to not quit, to keep going, to keep trying to find a solution so that I could be the best or whatever. And so now my job and my obligation is basically to help other people do the same thing and to find what they're passionate about and know that you can thrive in life. You can figure out a solution to help you to be the best. No matter where you're at, you may think you're alone. Like, is this going to get any better? Like, I'm here to tell people, like, it is. It's a journey, but at the end of the day, you're going to inspire so many individuals to just, do life better and just be the person that they're called to be. So, yeah.
Well, you truly are an inspiration, and you are inspiring so many with your journey, your story, to see where you've come, to see where you're going. What advice do you have for perhaps a newly diagnosed patient watching or someone who's really going through some struggles right now and aren't seeing the light at the end of the tunnel? What would you have? What would you say?
The biggest thing I can say is to find support. Find somebody. Maybe if people in your family don't understand, like reach out to people who maybe have Crohn's or have a similar situation, and really talk to them because I feel like support is the main thing that really helped me during this process. Even if people didn't understand, they were there to listen because a lot of times we get in our head when it comes to having a certain disease and you think like you're all alone. And so when you start to talk to people, you realize that, I'm not the only one dealing with this. They're able to give you some maybe solid advice to help you to overcome wherever you're at in your journey. But just having that support is huge. So really finding a support system, reaching out to the Crohn's, they have a lot of support groups and different, organizations that can help you and just, somebody to just talk to during that process to help you to get through it. So
Right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you again for joining us today, and hopefully you continue just to have inspired some others here. We do ask a question at the end of our patient segment that we mentioned. So what is your number one place to go? Number two?
if I can't make it home, right?
Right. If you can't make it at home.
If I can't make it home, I would say definitely a hotel because usually they are the cleanest and then they always have where I can, kind of, put the paper. Well, I don't even know what it's called.
Right.
But you know what I'm
the
talking about.
The sanitation paper.
Right. That you put down so that at least it's clean
Yes.
and it's nice or whatever if you happen to,
Right.
be out and can't get home.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us. And up next, we're going to connect with you. Thank you again, Marielle and Dr. Fudman. It's been a fun show.
It has. Marielle's story is so inspiring.
Mhm.
And seeing the pictures of her and her sweet family,
I know.
I feel like I need to go to the gym.
Right.
After
Perhaps
we're
she
done with
can
the
give us some
show. Yeah.
pointers.
Yes, she's incredible.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely wanted to share with everyone coming up. We have a wonderful patient and professional program that we host once a year.
Yep.
This year's event is Saturday, September 21st, and we are excited to have it at the Dallas Arboretum.
Yeah.
So this program is for patients, families, caregivers, but it's also for our professionals, for nurses, for our providers. So we would love to have you join us. We have a link up on the screen there where you can find out some more information and get registered for our Dallas Patient and Professional Program. It's just one of the many ways that the foundation is educating our IBD community. So
Yeah.
we hope you guys will join us. And I am certainly sad to say that my co-host here is departing us. This is
Yeah.
Katie's last show, and it's been so fun. It's been a journey.
It has been a journey, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been with the foundation for a little over 8 years, and just time for me to kind of follow a new passion of mine. But I'm gonna miss this.
I know.
I know. Can you remember our first show? We
I
just stared at the
sure-
camera.
How nervous we were.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I will
know.
certainly be watching every month, and thank you so much for all the opportunities you've given me,
Oh,
Jacqueline.
yeah.
I've truly enjoyed working with you and
I know.
getting to meet all our amazing guests and physicians
been
that have
fun.
come on. Yeah.
So fun, and yes, we're not letting you get away. So. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Bye,
Have a great
everybody.
day.